All systems go. Cleared for takeoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, and we're here. I said we're back the last time, but it's first show for me at least on the Mayo Media Network. We had our guys Title and Rio Hebrew on the other night. We're going to be here every Wednesday and Friday for NBA around 3:30 Eastern, and then for football, we're still here Mondays, Thursdays, and Sunday mornings, of course, at 9:45 a.m. Eastern. But excited for this show. It's the Tambo combo. The H is silent but relevant. Thambo. Got my guy Hamwich here with me, so I'm excited for this one. Going to break it all down for you guys. 11 games. Not going to do the same style for those that watched the show yesterday on our channel. It's a lot with 11 games, but we are going to bring it up. I'm still going to show off the projections. Going to talk about some of that stuff over at the site, shipitnation.com. If you guys haven't signed up yet, now is the time to get in. Go there. You get NFL. Right now, MLB's in the World Series, but we're still talking it out through these showdown slates. NBA, of course, is what we're here for. Golf comes back for 3 more weeks of the swing season starting next week. MMA, NHL, 10% off any membership when you use promo code MAYO. Get in there now. We'll bring more up on that later. Hamwich, excited to be here with you, man. What's going on?
Yeah, no, happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody watching. This is it's 11 games, so it's a lot to talk through, a lot to dig in. Enjoyed the Tambo show, the debut of it. So let's get right into it. Hey, we've been crushing it over here. Let's give the people some more winners today.
Yeah, so far 3 days in a row, big wins. By the way, last night, our guy Romeo24, he's in the Discord. Awesome dude, been around for a while. Love that guy. He said, I used to pay forward his wins with tickets to people, but he said in this case, he wants someone to actually get better, learn what he's loving, all the stuff we talk about over at Shipit Nation. So we are going to be giving away a free 1-month membership on behalf of Romeo today. So shout out to Romeo. Thank you to him. Congrats to him. A huge night last night. He won the 333 single. He won it with just a single bullet, $50K for first. I think he was in for $393 on the day and cleared well over 50. So congrats to Romeo. Thank you so much. We'll get to that. If you guys want to throw in the chat the reason you want the membership, throw it in there. Ham and I will pick a winner at the end of this show. Just put a simple reason why you think you deserve to get that free membership or what it will mean to you to get a membership to shipitnation.com. Gonna say what's up to some people there first. Newens knows. Hit the like on the way in. Shout out to Sean. He said, use the solver. My use of the solver yesterday convinced him to get it. Definitely recommend that to people. Newens again says that. Shout out to Good Math Guys. Take care of them kids though, man. But he said he's here to win some money. Appreciate all that. Brian says, I never used an opto for this, but man, their projections seem solid AF. Alex, my guy, Han, he said he's going to sign up. So appreciate that. And then Butter, our guy from the chat, Kevin. He's a Discord member. He's a Shipit Nation member. He said, took down the 888 qualifier last night against the best in the world by 15 points. And I know nothing about NBA. This is key, and I talk about it all the time. I'll bring it up here quickly, but we have different projections. A lot of people were talking about it earlier in the Discord. We love how your projections are different. We love how that, the key to that is this. There's lots of great sites out there with wonderful projections. I get it. They cost a lot more usually than what ours cost, but just to note, they're going to have winning nights. We're going to have losing nights. They're going to have losing nights. We're going to have winning nights. But as my guy Title likes to say, it's not how often you win. It's how much you win when you are right. And when our stuff is right, it's going to be on. This is kind of what Kevin was talking about. Like last year when I was using these, I was winning over some of the top players in the world in these live final qualifiers by big margins, 14 points, 22 points. Like you could see these wins, and that's what people are starting to see. And we're only 3 days in. So check it out. Go to shipitnation.com. Start things off here, Ham. We got 11 games to get into. We are going to go game by game. Going to do it in a different format here in a second. But what's your grand scheme overview? How do you see this slate playing out? What's your first thoughts that come to mind?
Yeah, it's going to be a good slate. I mean, some of the highest scoring total games are going to be in the nightcap. So we really want to hit, early to kind of see where we're going to need to go late, because I think a lot of that attention is going to focus in on that Golden State Sacramento game. And then I like the Clippers tonight myself. We'll talk about that when we get there. I'm not a believer in this Utah team nor this Utah defense. So I want to hit early and then back my way into the last 3 games of the night. I think that's where the difference is going to come in.
Yeah, I'm going to pop over here for a second just to get this set up. And what am I doing here, man? Maybe it's this one because I wanted to share this tab, but it keeps doing this to me.
Hey, real quick, while you're doing that, we got Ross K in here. He's at his buddy's wedding this week. He has a membership himself, Tambo. He wants to gift his college roommate as part of his wedding gift to join the nation. Ross, there's no better friend than you. Make sure you get your buddy in the Discord over here at Shipit Nation, and good luck tonight. Stay out of trouble for sure.
Yeah, one thing I should tell him, and now that he said that, I will show this right quick. But if you go to shipitnation.com, that's where you go to join. But you can go here. A lot of people don't know about this. We approve pretty much everyone. This is just my generic account, so you guys can see what this looks like and what it's all about. But you can sign up. This is just what your back end would look like. So you can actually get 20% when you go to this. So if I go here logged out and go to affiliates, you can click here and register. You sign up, first name, last, email, the websites where you want to promote us at. It takes 10 minutes or less. Apply to become an affiliate. Let me know. We'll get you in. Anybody you send to join the nation, you get 20% of whatever they pay. So if they pay $69 a month, you get 20% of that, and it's recurring. It stays with you. So it's not just, you used to have to hide these sites through your buddies and your friends and family, or they say, where do you get this information? What do you want to do with it? That's something you can definitely do to get in, join the nation, and then get other people into it as well. Shout out to my guy, BTJ. He's in here, says numero dos. I want to know who numero uno is these days. And then Mitchell, longtime listener to Tambo and Hoop. The guests have helped me become a better player. The membership will take it to the next level. Definitely appreciate that. We're going to get you guys a winner later on. But the way we're going to do this, Ham, I'm going to bring it up. Again, we're not afraid to share these projections. It's got them here. If you want to write them all down as you go along and put them in your stuff, go ahead. I think the easier way, the much easier way, is just to go to shipitnation.com, use promo code MAYO, get it for $62, try out the first month. We do have a 6-month and an annual bundle that can save you a lot more money, but this gets it in. Just to show you guys, we're in the solver. That's our partner. It shows here we're using our projections. They were last updated at 3:29 p.m. Eastern, so all the updates come out throughout the day. We update it right up to lock. It gets very aggressive around the lock time, and then from there, what ends up happening is every single game set, we update again. We have Boomer, our guy. You can go to meet the team on our page. He does this full time, so it's not like it's me scrambling to get these done while I'm putting in all my lineups or anything like that. You're getting somebody that's on this full time. So let's start it off here. Let's talk about this Denver-Memphis game, Ham. We've got Jaren Jackson, who I think is going to be extremely popular again, even though we did see Tillman, who's also a positive value for us tonight, come through and get his stuff. But Jokic, Bane, Gordon, Smart, these are kind of the popular values. And even Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, they're still popping up. So what's your thoughts on this first game here, Denver-Memphis?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good game. I mean, Memphis, there's going to be some value, I think, that's going to pop up in Memphis. I saw earlier Luke Kennard is out. Santi Aldama is out. Again, obviously, Ja Morant is out for the first 25 games this year. So I actually like Memphis. They struggled in their first game against the Pelicans. Now they get the world champs at home. You alluded to it earlier. Jaren Jackson Jr. Really popping over on our projections. Had a bad game, Tambo, the first night out. But, I mean, obviously we know what he can do. And not only can he score it, he can also get you points, blocking shots, getting rebounds. I really like Jaren Jackson Jr. tonight. And then, obviously, how can you not like Jokic down there? He's our second value in this game. He is pricey, though. 12-1 is that's a big boy price, the most expensive guy on the slate tonight. So I like those two for sure, and you got to find out what that is. And then I want to see where these minutes are going to go to. I haven't really heard or seen yet, just based on the fact of all who's out. But I do like some of these cheaper Memphis Grizzlies tonight. Zaire Williams comes to mind. I think he'll have a bigger impact tonight than he did the other night.
Yeah, the chat talks about two flop leg for JJ. There's some flop leg candidates tonight there for sure. So we'll talk about that. I think, at this price, he's going to be popular for good reason. But I'll go there in a second. One thing I want to know, too, our guy K-Ped, another great member from Shipit Nation, said he's going to give away the first month sub to somebody else. So we're going to pick 2 non-members today. So keep throwing your stuff in the chat. We're going to give 2 memberships away on the show. And then Shepdog, big win the other night. He says, get yourself a nice Shipit shirt. It might bring you some good luck. He just bragged in the Discord, got his shirt, the quality up. We appreciate it. He said it's good quality. It's not what I thought. It was, you never know with these shirts, right? So, but it actually was good quality. That night goes on to ship first place. I think it was 24 grand. So congrats to Shepdog. Lots of people having some great turnouts early on in this season. And NFL winners continue too. Our guy Krafka last night got third in the big 222 for 15K. So a lot of good stuff happening there. I played Bane the other night over Jackson. I went and looked at it the next day. I had a little takeaway session in our Discord doing my review process like I do daily to try and show off here and say, what I'm seeing, show off the stuff that we have, not me showing off. I had nothing to show off. I can assure you of that. But I did show off what my thought process was. It was kind of like in our stuff. You could see Tillman was an even more positive value the other night to Jaren Jackson. And it was, if not playing Jackson, you could have just went to Tillman. I don't think it'll be as sneaky tonight, but it's definitely an option that you could go to here. All these guys that we're in play, and you're going to see it when we get to some of these other games where there's not as many values. Bane's price went up. I will say this too, Ham. One nice thing about having you and I together on the show, why I'm so excited for this one every Friday, is because you play a ton of FanDuel. You actually do our FanDuel stuff over on the site. So if I just go back here for a second and go to it, if someone's got it in there already, fine. We'll give away more, but I just want to see real quick here. I'm going to log in, get it set up. But when you guys go to our stuff and go to NBA and go to the slate plan here, you can see our guy Hebrew Cheetah. He puts this up daily. He's already got some stuff in there. So there's the cheat code. But when you go to our core report for GPPs, we have our guy Hamwich down there on FanDuel specifically. And there is some stuff that I know Jaylen Brown, super cheap. He's cheap on both sites, but he's like 6,900 over there. Like certain guys you may want to play over there instead of on DraftKings. So is there anybody in this game, I'll leave it on this before we go to the next one, that you see that you could go to here on FanDuel specifically, or that look better to you on FanDuel?
I mean, one guy that I didn't touch on that I do want to touch on, and he's not really projecting well in our projections, but I really do like him tonight. That's Michael Porter Jr. I mean, Michael Porter Jr., just speaking DraftKings, had 35, 36 points last game at 5,800. That is going to be good. And the reason why I like him, he was 2 of 9 from the three-point line. If he hits, let's say on average 40% of those, he's going to hit 2 or 3 more. You're talking 10, 12 extra DraftKings points. I really like Michael Porter Jr. tonight. But in this game specifically, no one sticks out. Jaren Jackson Jr. would be the play that I would play on the FanDuel side, on both sites really. But don't forget Michael Porter Jr. I really like tonight as well, even though he is not projecting that great.
Yeah, I like that. I like this call too. Anytime I see a guy that he's got pretty good value over here too at 5,800. I know we'll get to more guards and stuff later, but 2 point guard, shooting guard eligibility. So I like Nguyen's call there. And I love some good wordplay. So Robert's got here hashtag Shepit for our guy Shepdog. Definitely a solid one. So I appreciate that. And we'll pick some of these thoughts along the way. Don't feel bad if you say you need it, whatever. We'll try and get you guys set up. We're going to give away 2 memberships on this show. Let's go to the next game here. Let's go to Detroit, Charlotte, Ham. Here's some other plays popping. We saw Mark Williams get the job done the other night. Duren is popping right now. And then you've got some other guards down the board that just are lower values than what look like the more common. But who are you on in this game? Who are some of the guys that stand out for you?
Yeah, I think one of the talking points is going to be LaMelo Ball. I mean, I haven't seen any news on him yet today, but I know he was limited earlier in the first game of the season, 9,400 on DraftKings, but he's a walking triple-double. I mean, LaMelo, if he gets his full complement of minutes, and like I said, I haven't seen if he's going to get that. I do like LaMelo a little bit if he's going to get that full complement of minutes. Outside of that, I mean, Cade Cunningham had a really nice first game. He projects, well for us as it relates to his value, but for the most part, this is going to be a stay-away game for me. I mean, I'm not going to be playing too many Pistons this season outside of maybe Cade Cunningham, but Mark Williams, no thank you for me. I know he did well the other night, but it would be LaMelo depending on his usage, and then Cade Cunningham on the Pistons side if I was even going to get there.
Yeah, I'm going to show off one thing here in a second. I'm going to turn everything on and show it, but I do want to go back quick just so people see. One note, because we're on our partner, the Solver, with our projections. That's kind of the key. But when you join the nation, people ask me this all the time, and you use the code MAYO, get 10% off. It says everything we offer, one low price. We do not offer the Solver because we are not the Solver. It's a partnership. That's why it says optional. But to be clear, it doesn't matter what one you want to go with. You could pay around $103 when you add this with code MAYO and go get just the single month NBA. It's around $103, including an optimizer. Most places, 150 to 170, 120, whatever it might be. You get all the sports that we cover and more. With the 6 month, though, this goes down to $323. It's right around that same mark. When you go over to them, you can get it. But when you click this link, and I'll share it, and you land here, and you go to you go to DFS Optimizer, and you will see our logo. You have to be on this in order to get it preloaded with our projections for the sports that we cover. And we got to talk to them because MMA and PGA we added after the fact. They are included as well that go in there. But $34.99 a month for NBA. If you go $49.99 a month to $320, it's $623 a month for the 6 month plan with both, especially when you use promo code MAYO here. We'll jump back. I'll show you why I did that, because when I go to center, what I want to sort by is all of our values. And just to note, when you go this way, let me even go by utility for a second. The two guys that we've talked about already, Jackson and Jalen Duren, they're sitting there at two of the best values, period, within our projections on DraftKings. Does that change your mind anything on the center? Because when you're looking here, we still have yet to talk about, but we're going to go Mobley is a flop leg candidate. We're going to get to Day'Ron Sharpe, who somebody brought up in there. Mark Williams, who we just talked about, same game. And then Jokic, Collins, Singular. There is some options down there below. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with that spot before we move on to the next one?
Yeah, just looking at, I popped over to Hebrew Cheat. I know he's in the chat as well. Just looked at his slate plan. He's really high on Mark Williams. He said this season, but I'm assuming that means tonight as well. He projects well for us. He's great value for us. Might need to take a deeper look at him. I mean, the Hornets have 115 implied total tonight, which I think is around 6 or 7 on the slate. So might need to take a deeper look at these Hornets outside of LaMelo, and then Cade Cunningham. Hebrew wrote up as well. So I'm going to take a deeper look at both of those. I mean, I liked Cade to begin with, but I want to look at Cade and Mark and then LaMelo as well.
Yeah, I might have a little Cade interest, actually, just going back to it here. If I do it this way, I can just turn off and see. He's another guy, but man, the price tag, it's always scary. Again, he can do it though. That's the difference. So we'll see. There's a lot of other guys on this slate that I like a little bit more. So we'll see who makes it in for me, but definitely at least interesting in an MME and stuff like that. He's going to fit in there either way. Anything else on that one? If not, you can take us into Boston and Miami. And I brought this one up earlier. I mean, this price, even I know on FanDuel, it's even more ridiculous, like cash game lock or whatever, $6,900, you just throw them in. But even here, 10-5, Jason Tatum, $7,900 Brown. And I get it. Holiday, Porzingis now, it's a little bit more to deal with, but this price still seems quite low. And our projections do like him here. So give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Jaylen Brown, I mean, Tatum had the better game, if you will, on opening night. And now, I mean, Jaylen Brown, 6,900 on FanDuel is that's a lock for sure. And then I think you got to play him tonight as well on DK at that price. He's great value, as you just alluded to. I don't have any problem playing him in cash or GPPs for him. We have Kevin Love. I don't think I'm going to get to Kevin Love. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on Kevin Love tonight. I don't mind going back to Tatum. I mean, he's pricey, he's expensive, but he's going to play a majority of the game. He's going to take a majority of the shots. He's one of those guys similar to Jaren Jackson, in my opinion. Rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. He can do it all, not just points, and really, stuff the stat box, so to speak. So I don't mind any of those Celtics that I just alluded to, but no Kevin Love for me. I played Tyler Hero the first night. I'm not there. They just can't score it how I wanted to score it yet, Tambo. So I'm going to be a little lower on those Heat than I would be on the Celtics.
Yeah, one quick thing going back. Newens brought it up. He knows I like a good combo pack. And usually it's at somewhere like Popeye's Chicken or something like that. I get a nice combo pack that way. But he's talking about using two of the same guys. And if you've got a guy like this, I did this the other night with Obi Toppin and Turner. Even though I know they can eat each other's lunch, it was a small slate. So when I'm doing it that way, I'm saying, okay, I can have both those guys together and just take whatever I get from both. Plus, it's a unique way of using where most people are chopping them out. I can do it that way. He's saying because you have the power forward center eligibility on Stewart, you could just play both and take what you get. I'm not fully against it, but again, on a slate this big, it's tougher to imagine because there's other ways to go. It will definitely make you unique though, and it's something higher dollar, smaller field. Wouldn't hate something like that too. So just to go back to it there, one thing I also want to know, because anybody who followed me in my NBA content before, which isn't much, I'm diving in way deeper this year, getting more involved with it, but one of my favorite players is in a lot of trouble. That's Ja Morant. So I got to tell people about another favorite player of mine, and this is tough as a Lakers fan since 97, ever since Kobe did the between the legs dunk at the contest. That's when I became a Kobe fan. I stuck with the Lakers just like Kobe did. RIP to Kobe, but sticking with the Lakers, he did that. I did the same. I'm still a Lakers fan, die hard, but I'm a fantasy fan. My son's name is Tatum, and Jason Tatum is my guy. I love three other guys outside of Ja Morant, and it's Jason Tatum, it's Dame, and it's SGA. SGA's Canadian. Love SGA. He was doing some things over the summer, but I still, as much as I love Tatum and what he's capable of, I cannot get involved here at 10-5. It will make you unique. I get it's a pivot off of Brown on the other sites and stuff, but you're going to be playing like Brown is just going to pop up no matter what at these prices. So, I mean, there's other guys here. I think Love is interesting, but Love's getting the ownership too, but he probably should at $4,300. Not sure what we have him here for. Just 1 second for minutes. Min-max. I don't know if they show the minutes in Solver. That's one of the other things I got to look at. But on our site, you can go over here. I'm going to log back in and see, just to share this over. If you ever want to do this, you're a member, you can go to projections.
So are you saying are you in or are you out on Kevin Love?
I'm in on Kevin Love, out on Jason Tatum. But I want to see, you can just do this. So I'm on DraftKings. You can type in Love. We've got him for 28 minutes right now. And then that's where the high point per dollar comes from. But just to note that, something you want to look at it on the site, you can just quickly run over to it and see, plug the name in and get it. Or you can just download the CSV, whatever it is you want to do. I just wanted to show that to see what we had him at. But that puts him in here. And he's a pretty strong value today. So just to note that, something that stood out to me right away.
That's about 27 minutes too many, Tambo.
You think? You're not in on Love. I can tell already. So
no, I get it with the price, right? I mean, he could hit you some threes, get you some rebounds, but he's their fourth or fifth option. I'm not going to play any. I'm not going to play. Oh, my boy Sean V's back in action.
Sean V is a sharp, man. He's in there last year. We've had some back and forth, but he knows his stuff. And this is not about that, but I appreciate Sean being here and supporting. But it is true. We didn't know this, man. We didn't know this guy's going to be out toting pistols and doing stuff like that. Like, I thought he was just a nice guy, hang out with the kids, giving some waitresses and waiters some nice tips, things like that. We had no idea that this guy was going to be out at the clubs with the guns, all these things. So don't know what to tell you with him, but that's why I got those backup favorite players. I told you right there. SGA is my dude. I love SGA. Tatum for sure as well. Let's move on. I know some people that, don't like Tatum and Mitchell, but come from that class. They like Trae Young. So we'll go to this game here. You got Young, Randall, Jalen Johnson's getting some steam, I think, at 4,700 on this slate. And then there's some other guys there as well. RJ Barrett, another Canadian that we saw doing some things over the summer. Dylan Brooks was doing things too. So I'm not sure how much of these guys doing things says much, but just in general, give me your thoughts on this game here, Ham. What do you got?
Yeah, Trae Young, home opener. I don't mind him at all. Hey, you want to talk about a flop flag game? Trae Young, 4 of 19, first night out against those Hornets. I think he picks it back up tonight. Played 36 minutes the other night, so don't mind Trae, and we like him over here in our value as well. So really high on Trae Young for a bounce-back game. I've been off Julius Randle. I mean, I understand he can do it, but no thank you for me on Julius Randle. I'm not a believer in him. No Jalen Johnson. I know you said him. The other guy that I would focus on, Jalen Brunson, Mr. Consistency. Hey, when the chips are on the table, Jalen Brunson's going to have the ball in his hand. Another guy struggled the other night, got a technical foul. Someone ran underneath him the other night. He got a technical foul called on him for flopping. That's a no. 6 of 21 on his first night, but he's going to have a huge bounce-back game. Maybe a little Brunson, Trae Young going back and forth with each other, each getting 35 points. Would love to see that. But give me those two guards tonight would be the two that I have the most interest in.
Yeah, one thing about Trae Young, I could definitely pay that before like 8,800 for Cade. And Cade is very good. I'm not discounting this guy. I'm just saying that for $400, I'm going to find it for Trae. I would just figure that out. That's just how I look at it. You're allowed to play both. I get it. And I like your Jalen Brunson call on the opposite side. It's not too much to worry about there, but I'm looking at a value that I just don't see right now. I think he's getting low ownership. I don't know. This is not the latest ownership yet. That's why I'm kind of just going back and forth on it. But just in general, I don't think we'll see Trae get too much love here. So there's that. And then Jonathan A says, probably wouldn't approve a new subscription without evidence of success. We are 3 for 3 on 3 NBA nights. So you can go check it out on Twitter at Shipit Nation. You should all follow us there. We do a bunch of giveaways as well, but you could see the success across all sports. It's been like a 2-week heater, just nonstop. So I definitely like that. And then Sean's still going with us here. He says you got the football guy, the baseball guy, and Ham. It's clearly working. Hopefully we'll see, but I do like the just outsider look. It's a little bit different than what you're probably used to. And I know not everybody is going on the show showing off their projections the exact way later in the day, trying to give you guys as much info as possible, and then looking at it from different angles. Yesterday was a great one. We Nades and I did this. It was a shorter slate, but looking at all those leverage angles, and Romeo 24 got the job done for 50K last night. So that was a big part of it. He said, going on watching you guys on that show, helping him talk through certain leverage spots. He only had one bullet in the 333, and obviously he had to take it on. He wasn't just playing all the chalk that everybody else was on. He mixed it up a little bit, got different, and blew the field out as well. So congrats to him. Again, we will pick that membership. We're going to do one membership soon, actually, Ham. We got almost 200 watching. You guys are just joining us. Smash the like, subscribe to the Mayo Media Network, and if you can do us an extra favor, open up that tab talking about giveaways. Go subscribe to Shipit Nation. It's youtube.com/@ShipitNation. We're going to be giving away a 6-month membership, 6-month bundle for everything once we get to 4,000 subscribers over there. Ham, let's move on. Let's talk about OKC Cleveland. Speaking of my guys are just too expensive tonight, man. SGA 10-6, Tatum 10-5. We'll see. And no Dame. By the way, Dame came through huge last night. Incredible to see him on Milwaukee there. But let's talk about this one. OKC, Cleveland. I know Mobley flop leg, but I always throw this out to the chat. Is it really flop leg when everyone's hopping right back on the same train? It's not like this guy was at huge ownership like Minshew last week in the NFL. Foreman last week in the NFL. These guys were extremely high owned. Everybody jumped off for whatever and good reasons, and then they go out and smash. That to me is the flop leg. When people are just hopping right back on, waiting for it to happen until it happens, I don't know if that truly is. We'd have to get a full wording on the definition. But talk to me about this game, Ham. What do you got?
Yeah, we got the reincarnation of Max Strus. I mean, where did that come from the other night? Max Strus is out there just putting up all sorts of buckets and points. That was crazy to see. I was thinking about this, before the show and during the show. Evan Mobley, however you want to say his name, Tam, I don't know. Man, I just can't do it. I know he's great value, but I mean, look at and what I'm looking at is Karis LeVert, 17 shots the other night. Darius Garland, 12 shots. Donovan Mitchell, 21 shots. I mean, this guy's not getting any shots unless he's going to get a rebound or get some trash bucket. I just don't like relying on that in NBA DFS. I mean, I understand he can do the blocks and the rebounds and things. And 7,400, I think, on what is it? Yeah, 7,300 on DK, 7,400 on FanDuel. I'm going to pass on Mobley tonight. That's going to be my big stand of this game. Karis LeVert, I like. Donovan Mitchell, slow start to the game the other night when they needed it most in the crunch time in the fourth quarter. Where did they go, Tambo? They went to Donovan Mitchell. He hit a game-winning three. I do like that. Your boy SGA, over 10K. He's getting a lot of pub, getting a lot of hype. Doesn't have good value according to our projections. But, man, he's going to have a phenomenal season this year. They actually blew the Bulls out on night one, which actually hindered them, right? They maybe didn't play as long as they were going to if they didn't have them blow it. So I don't mind SGA tonight, but that would be kind of where I end on that side of it.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna be 50% tonight, but people are definitely going back to the Mobley show here. So I actually think I like the Q tag. I like Garland, 7K, fair price. I think somebody else brought up our guy Newens. He said Garland Q usage rate should get a bump. OKC was horrible against guards. That's the guy I like tonight in this game. So I don't know if he's talking about Mitchell, who he likes because of the Garland Q tag, or does he like? But I liked Garland, so I'm in on Garland here, assuming all goes well and we get him. But I expect it, so we'll see where we end up on that. But he's the guy that stood out to me in this game. Chet is just expensive for what he is. Like the other guys are tough gets, so I think a lot of people will go here, and I get it. But I think I'm going to look a little bit elsewhere. We'll see where I end up at the end of the night. Let's move on and keep it going here.
Real quick. Hey, sorry. Where are you on Max Strus? I mean, are you going back to Max Strus? And then what about?
I don't think I've been. I can't remember being on him even before when back in the Miami side of things. Like I just don't. It maybe as a pivot play or something like that, but not tonight. So I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. And the reason, let me tell the I'm out on Mobley. I think people are going to go back to him, just like what you said. He's going to be 40 to 50% owned. I'm sure other projections have him popping as well.
Oh, yeah.
And all those good things. So people are going to go right back to him. It's too early in the season to, I guess, to quote unquote get off somebody. So I'm out on Mobley. Definitely out on your boy Max Strus as well. Sorry. Let's move on.
No, all good. That's a good point to make. And again, it's going to be popular everywhere. All the projection sites early on are going to be somewhat similar in a way, but in general, I think people have talked about it plenty in our Discord, and we saw it with the wins that we've seen already in these first three nights, where you're just seeing people blow out fields by 15 and 20. Doesn't happen very often unless you have different projections that are good. So that's what we feel strongly about. That's what's always worked. That's what we're going to stick with and keep telling you the same thing. So I don't think you have to go. I know a lot of people bring up all these diamond in the rough plays, and maybe you get lucky and it makes things work and you're good to go. And that builds around where you can put in other chalk plays. Of course, all those things make sense to me. But in general, what I'm trying to say is that also, you don't like, I'm not having to veer too far away. I can use these projections, get different in other spots. And we saw it the other night. It was like the guy that won. It was our guy, the Wolf of Wall Street, not Wolf of Wall Street on FanDuel, but he was in there showing us. And basically he had two or three pivots that were still guys that projected. They just weren't these guys at the very top. It was guys down the board a little bit that still had positive values. So I think you could do that. No problem, but definitely want to say that up front. Let's move on. Let's go to Houston, San Antonio. Collins was one of the guys that was popping earlier. If we just click all on again and go to center and look down, I think Collins was, where did we see him at? Maybe I passed him right here. So nowhere near in the world of centers and center eligibility of the top 5. He's just outside. I shouldn't say nowhere near, but he's not in the top 5. He's just outside of it. This is the guy, though, that I could see here pop a little bit, and he's at 5,700, much like some of the popular plays that you see. So I could definitely see him being a sneaky pivot. But let's go back to this game. I'll let you talk through it first. What are you doing here in Houston, San Antonio?
Yeah, those Spurs guys, I mean, they're a good value. The thing I don't like about them is I'm trying to think of who I could compare them to on another sport, but I feel like they're all playing like 25 to 30 minutes. I mean, they all have upside, but, even Wembanyama obviously, came out of the gate super strong, but at the end of the night, he played 23 minutes. I think they're going to, ease him in, so to speak. And then, Zach Collins, even looking at him, I mean, can he get there at 5,700? Absolutely. But, 32 minutes, 30 points. I just want guys with bigger upsides. I mean, they're popping in our projections, popping in the value. I'm going to be a little bit under the field, though, as it relates to the Spurs. And then the Rockets, man, what a dumpster fire they were on the first night, not giving up yet. That is only one night. One guy that I do want to talk about is the villain named Dylan, the Canadian. Your guy, Dylan Brooks. I don't mind coming back to him. He's only 5,000. He didn't play a whole lot the other night, but, I watched the Grizzlies pretty much every game that the Grizzlies play. And, so I've seen him play a lot of basketball, and he can do it. If he can make some shots, Tambo, he's going to get the rebounds. He's going to get some assists, blocks, steals, and all those good things. I don't mind Dylan Brooks at $5,000. So yeah, I don't mind him at all on the Rocket side.
Yeah, he's usually chucking. I didn't see too much so far, but yeah, he still put it up a little bit. So yeah, 5,000, I guess, if you want to go there. Like I said, there's probably other plays for me. Canadian came through at the FIBA, like people were talking about the international series. That was awesome. Good to see. But in general, just so many other options here. I mentioned already with Collins. I don't think, guys that I'm not on or want to chase or anything like that, like probably not Sohan and probably, again, like he'll fit into some in NBA. I shouldn't say I'm not on him. He's not going to make my main lineup or something like that. And then Victor, really tough. He's just so hard right now to project and see. So that's kind of the thing. We're just basing it off of whatever. I think we've got him for around 31 minutes using his preseason rate somewhere around like 1.3. Even that sometimes isn't right. So just to say it early on, very tough to predict. But if you want to play him at 8,100, by all means, I think he'd be better on FanDuel, though. I know we liked him. Our stuff liked him the other night on FanDuel. And that's because you're going to get the bigger points, the blocks, the steals, and stuff like that. I mean, the man can jump way up in the air like that. You're going to be able to get some extra points out of him. So I definitely think he's a better play over there. We'll go to Toronto and Chicago in just 1 sec, but going to give out the first free membership. Shout out to our guy, Romeo24. He said he would give one away. I like this story. I love stories like this. He said, Tingus Pingus, first of all, a name like Tingus Pingus deserves a membership. And it says, since around August, I've been tuning into the free shows for MLB, kept coming back for NFL, and now NBA. Our partner, DGen75, he said, I use his stuff for PGA, informative content, so it'd be great to become a member. He's here watching basketball. He's trying to get better. He said, either way, I'll still tune in when I can, but it's about to be difficult with this second baby is here soon, so I'll go to the site and read instead of YouTube would help. So definitely want to give a shout out. Tingus Pingus, you're our first winner of a monthly membership. Send an email to info@shipitnation.com. I'll get you all set up, man. Just give us that email. We'll get you going there. Romeo, when you get into the Discord, will be the guy to thank. Romeo24. So congrats to Tingus Pingus. I will say that's the key, though. We sell it a lot. Of course, the show and sell. These shows are all free. We have no hidden premium shows. Our price is the lowest for the most, like that you're going to see. All of that stuff. We talk about it a lot, but it's because it's helping people win. That's part of the business. So just so you guys know, if you can't be a member, that's okay. We've set it up that way where you can just come to all the free shows, get as much knowledge as possible, try and help you out to win with this stuff, where then you can come back. Or when you win, maybe you buy an annual or a 6-month membership and you get involved for real. And that's kind of the way we want to look at this stuff. So I definitely want to say that too. Congrats to Tingus Pingus. He's going to be joining the nation. He got the first membership here. We're going to give a second one away a little later on. So stay tuned for that. Let's get back to it, Ham. We got a few more games to go here. Let's talk about Toronto, Chicago. Man, I don't see a lot that I like here, but maybe you could talk me into something. What are we doing in this game?
Tambo, you're going to get 240 emails saying their Tingus Pingus wasn't that free month, FYI.
Just an I always say this. I thought I didn't have to do this anymore. It's been so far so good. Tingus Pingus, I know you got to know a little technology for this, but you will have to screenshot your YouTube account to show that it's you. That's how we always send back, because obviously anyone that hears our email says, oh, I can just email that and get a free membership. We'll see through it. We'll make sure we get it correct. So do that and we'll get you set up from there, man. It's easy to show off that you are who you are. So good call out, Ham, but we'll get back to it. Toronto, Chicago, what do you got in this one?
Yeah, two gross teams from night one. Everybody's out on the Bulls. I like that value that we see there. Kobe White, I don't mind, 4,900. DeMar DeRozan, don't mind him at all. Great price tag, 7,300 over there on DK. Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, showing good value. With Fred Van Vliet gone, there's going to be more shots to go around, more things to do. So those upper echelon Raptors, upper echelon Bulls guys, I don't have a ton of interest in, but I wouldn't completely take them out of my 150 for sure.
Yeah, almost 250 watching. So I should note the K-Ped one, our guy K-Ped that's going to give away, said he was in a good mood, give away a monthly membership. That'll happen when we get a lot more likes going. So everybody just take 2 seconds, stop, go hit the like button. It's easy. It's free. Takes 2 seconds. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet for the Mayo Media Network, do so now. And then do us a favor, bonus points always. Go over to the Shipit Nation YouTube station, hop in, click that subscribe button for all the free shows. Definitely a good way to go about things where you can get access even if you're not a member. So I don't have too much with this game. I do think it's interesting, though. I will note this. I do look at this stuff quite a bit, like just seeing these values here, where it's like those middle of the road guys where what ends up happening, you just know nobody gets to them. So if you end up getting a one-off here, that's kind of how I would like it a little bit more. I don't think, just go back to the other night, Vooch ended up being pretty sneaky the other night, but he's just way down the board tonight, even at 7,200, but it's a little bit tougher spot. There's a lot better guys out there, more pricing favoring that. So I'm not going to have a lot going on there. We got 4 more games to get through here, Ham. Let's talk through it. We got Brooklyn, Dallas. I'll click it back over to all. What are we doing with Luka here? This is the spot, right? Because I think a very popular secondary stack is going to be Luka and Day'Ron Sharpe. The news was on, who was it on? Claxton, right? So we're waiting on, Cameron Johnson's got a Q-Tech here, but Claxton. So Sharpe, Luka, very easy to fit into builds tonight, and you still have right around that price. We've seen a ton of value plays at this price the whole night that we've been going through it so far. So what are we doing with Luka? What are we doing with Sharpe? And then is there anybody else you could move to in this game, or is there even interest at all in this game? Let me hear what your thoughts are.
Is Claxton officially rolled out, or you said we're still waiting on that? I haven't seen it.
I thought it already was.
Let's just assume. I'm sure the chat can tell us as well, but
he was ruled out beforehand. That's what it was. I knew it was something, but yeah,
okay,
that's why the Sharpe stuff is being talked about.
Yeah. So at 3,300, he's going to be tough to get off because the projection is really good on him. 3,300. You're talking about almost 8x his price tag. So I think that's good. Luka, to me, I think I'm not going to use the word must play, but just the way he is utilized and the way they used him, the shots he takes, the stuff that he does, and he's popping at a great value, great price on him. I don't mind playing Luka. I think you going to have him maybe in a cash game, so to speak. I think he's a cash game staple, so I don't mind him there. And then I think it's just depending on how your GPP build works out, I don't mind him. But what I wanted to touch on with you, Tambo, was Cameron Johnson. Is Cameron Johnson in tonight? Have we heard the news on Cam Johnson? And if he doesn't play, Cam Thomas then comes in. Cam Thomas, 36 points, 9-1, only played 25 minutes and chucked it up 21 times. The kid's a walking bucket. Is he going to get more minutes? If he gets 35 minutes, Tambo, then I think he's going to have to be a must play just based on his usage and the amount of shots that he's going to take. Interested to hear what your take is on Cam Thomas.
Yeah, who did we just look at here that I was going to say? I think it was one other guy. Who were we looking at? What game was it when there was there was something we were just looking at? Because Cam Thomas is 5,100. So if he comes into play here, which we'll have to wait on that news. There was something we were just looking at. Was LeVert was 4,900. Your guy, Dylan Brooks, was 5K. And I thought there was one more, too, that we were looking at. Yeah, Kobe White was 4,900 too. So that's actually something there that could be a little bit sneaky as well, that you could move on to that. We're going to get to this too. It's not a lot of pivots I see, no, but we'll definitely talk about that when we get there, because that's going to be a very popular play on this slate as well, because the price barely got lifted up. So I will say that. Just going to get to some of these other ones in a second, but I definitely think going back to Luka's fine. We have more than enough value on this slate. I don't hate that. When you look at it, click all here, and you can go to the values on the slate and see Luka is just popping way up the board. this value is not based on the slate. This is based on his price, our projection, all of that. So that's obvious. But I'm also saying when you know the slate has a ton of good value plays, both mid-tier and bottom end and just good in-betweens that you can use, he's going to be easy to get on your rosters as well. So outside of the popularity, definitely a good spot that you could still go to Luka here. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Sharp, man, just because he's 3,300 in this value, he's definitely going to, assuming everything stays the same and what we get, it's going to be a guy. But I will say the one thing I was remembering, I knew in the back of my mind I was forgetting something. It was Claxton was out last night, as Sean told us, but it was whether or not we even see Sharp go in the starting lineup. And so I do wonder how much that docks his ownership if he doesn't end up starting, but yet he can still do it because at 3,300, who cares? So he actually could end up getting that. Yeah, I remembered this. Josh, I appreciate that. That's what I was trying to say. There was something else I was forgetting, but just listening today and going around and seeing some stuff about whether or not he ends up starting or not is actually a discussion. So we'll have to wait and see if that surprises people. We'll see what happens when we get there, but that was just a note to add as well. So let's keep it moving here. Let's go on to this next spot. Let's go to LAC, Utah, Clippers, and the Jazz. What's your thoughts on this one? We don't have, this is where our projections tells you if there's ever an avoid game, this is the one, right?
Yeah, no, and I alluded to it earlier. I actually have interest in the Clippers. I was watching some of that Jazz and Kings game the other night, and I certainly understand that the Kings are a really good team this year. But man, this Utah defense is pathetic, and I like Paul George, Kawhi, and even Russ Westbrook. Zubac had a good game the other night, so I don't mind either of those four. Although they are the value is very bad on them. Going to take a deeper look at them, and then the only other one for me that I like on the other side that would be Jordan Clarkson. This guy just shoots it. I feel like 100 times a game. He's going to shoot it a bunch, and he's going to make a bunch as well. So he has the green light. Shot it 16 times the other night, so don't mind him in a back and forth game. Give me those top four that I mentioned for the Clippers, and then I would look at Jordan Clarkson on the Jazz side for me. But that's about it.
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have a lot of interest here in this one, but the chat was. This is just so people know, because Josh says this. The chat was if they start one of those mid lineups where it ends up being a bunch of sort of backup, not backup guys, sorry, but what was the setup here? Let me go back to that game for a second. It was someone said Bridges, for example.
Ball?
Yes, small ball lineup where we'll have to wait and see who's in. But if they do something like that, people were talking about Simmons, Bridges, some of those guys mixing in, and then obviously the Cam Johnson news matters. But just to say that was the conversation that could be a possibility. I think, again, looking at it and how we're projecting him, is that he's going to start. But if he didn't, just to say that shouldn't shock you. It could be a possibility. And then you'd obviously still be okay playing him, and his ownership would just come down that much more. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up here as well. It won't really matter either way.
But real quick, if Cam Thomas is starting, and let's say, coach says he's starting, going to play 30 minutes. We currently have him projected for 23 minutes. At 5,100, the amount of points that this guy can put up, what do you think that's going to do to his ownership?
Yeah,
or do you think it'll affect it?
I don't know about that, but I do know that's kind of the obvious part of us doing this show a little bit earlier and just showing everything off. I can promise you that if this guy's out and this guy's minutes go up, this is not going to be minus 2.78, and his ownership's not going to be nil either. It's going to be a lot more. So you're going to see that. This is, again, Josh doesn't believe it. JB's talking about what others are talking about, is if they try and do something like that. Again, basketball, the I Know Ball crew might win out on this one, and that's why. Because like you said, you got to deal with Luka. You got to deal with Kyrie, all of that. So probably the case, mainly just making the point that if it was a situation where Sharp wasn't getting the start, that a lot of people on week one of NBA are going to be casual players just hopping in the streets. They're on DraftKings or FanDuel playing NFL right now. They hop over to this. They see that everyone goes, oh, he's not starting anymore. I'll be honest with you, it's true. And this is the best part about learning and getting better at DFS. But some people don't know that the green check mark means starting on DraftKings, for example, or things like that. So I just think in general, you could definitely see a spot, and that would change his ownership slightly. So just something to keep in mind. I really don't care too much beyond that. I think he's fine either way. But to your point, Cam Thomas is going to vault up if we move him up to 25 plus minutes, up to 30. Like you said, he's going to creep up the board quite a bit. So I definitely don't hate that call. I really don't have a lot on this game at all. Who was the one guy you said was Westbrook?
Yeah, I don't hate Westbrook. They have.
I was going to say that too.
Point. Huh?
I was just going to say the same thing too. Is that I don't love everything here. But if you were going to go to somebody, going to a guy like Westbrook could be an option just for the price point, 7,200, and you just see if you can get that upside out of him. It's just really tough. You don't see it as much. Maybe better over on FanDuel too, where he's just, I don't know what his price is on FanDuel if you can check it, but he just does this thing. He goes wild, runs around the court, getting those steals, things like that. You could definitely see him pop there a little bit more.
Yeah, looking over at he actually projects worse over on FanDuel. He's actually 7,600 higher than he is on DK. That just the reason I like Westbrook, especially on DK, is like you said. I mean, he's just a wild man out there. He's the ultimate wild card. They're going to score points. The Jazz are going to miss a bunch of shots. The Clippers are going to make a bunch of shots. I could just see a case where he goes to like 15, 12, and 17 or something crazy like that. Get you 50, 55 plus. So. I mean, he's not a must play by any stretch, but I hate him as a player, but I don't hate him tonight in fantasy. He's kind of like my hoop or my Dak to hoop. I hate the guy as a player, but hey, we're talking fantasy here. So give me a little bit of Westbrook.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to, actually, I'm going to save this one because that's also the featured game. And for those that don't know, bring this up too, because a lot of people that are newer to this, seeing us for the first time or watching us on this channel, we do cover Showdown. NBA, we understand, is tough if you're a family person. If you've got, kids, extra work late, things like that, you just can't be around a computer all night to play NBA. It can be tough. We do have Showdown coverage where you'll have projections, ownership, and then we also have our guy Hebrew Cheetah who does the core report for us. I'll show it because I know it's not filled out yet because he's going to get to his main slate stuff first, but it'll have the date, the featured game we're covering. It's him doing it for DK. He has a main core, a secondary core, and a third core. So if you are in a bind and you just want some ideas, he throws those out there. Lots of sites do these ideas. I know these cores and stuff get talked about. Every site has cores, but other sites, even some of the more popular sites that people are subscribed to that pay more money for all this stuff, they have it where there's stack ideas and they show it. We just do the same idea. We just call them this. He talks about his captain exposures. He gives notes on the captain position, why he's treating it the way he is. And then he gives you exposures at the flex for his MME pool, and you can adapt it and use it your own way. But again, you can also just run the projections, and the projections are already going to be up there. They're updated throughout the day. They go with the flow of the other projections, and they're all up there. We have them separated by captain, utility. It's got the minutes, the salaries, the projections, the point per dollar. You can use these within the solver as well to build your own lineups and go about it that way. Let's go to this second last game, though. Orlando, Portland will save the Warriors and the Kings because that is the featured Showdown game tonight. And let's talk about this one. Ayton, Scoot. We got Grant. We're waiting on Simons, but man, 6,400. We'll see what happens with him. And then you've got, I think your guy here. He's 8,200 on DraftKings, but he's much cheaper on FanDuel. Fultz. You got some options here. What are you doing with this game?
Yeah, for the most part, it's going to be a stay away game for me. I mean, the one that I kind of like, and he's not really popping in our projections. 5,300 on DK is sharp. 28 minutes the other night, hoisted up there 14 times, could do a little bit of it all, rebounding. Had a couple offensive rebounds, couple assists, and a steal. I don't mind Sharp at that price. Hopefully, they can keep it competitive. They were semi-competitive against the Clippers the other night, so I don't mind Sharp. But other than that, it's going to be tough for me to play these Magic tonight. It's going to be tough to play these Trailblazers all season long, to be honest with you, Tambo. Just don't see much there. Scoot's really popping in our projections, as I'm assuming you're showing on the screen. But give me Sharp over Henderson, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's down here at 5,300. I will say this though: what is it? Banchero. What's his price tag on FanDuel?
Oh, Paulo is. Let's look and see real quick.
I think he's another guy that's a lot cheaper over there too that you could look at as well. I was just looking at some cash games.
7,300. Yeah, he's popping over there, 7,300.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end actually too. If people want to stick around and just see some FanDuel stuff, we'll stick around and show it. We got about 10 minutes left. We like to try and keep it under the hour. We talk about less is more. We value your time. We know that it's important that you get as much information as possible to be able to make those decisions. So try and get you guys out of here within the hour. I don't have a lot to go here. Like I definitely have interest in this spot, and I'm going to be in on a lot of these plays. I want to wait and see. I have interest in Simons. I was trying to get an update, but then I got to talking. What's the latest on Anthony Simons? See it here. Probable for Friday. I actually have interest in him with the Q tag as well. I don't just play guys because they have a Q tag, but I'm really looking at his price at 6,400. Things have opened up a little bit more. I know you were talking about going down to Sharp. I actually like Simons here at 6,400. So again, a mini value, Nothing crazy, but that's kind of where that's going to come with lower ownership, even within this game, let alone the entire slate. He's going to be down the board. When you go to all and go just to guards, for example, you're looking at going way down here to get to him, right? Like he's way down here at 1.12. You got all these options above. I got no problem with it. You saw I was off some of these guys in between looking for other options. So I definitely don't have a problem with that. Anything else on that game? If not, we can go to this final game and then we'll do some FanDuel stuff. We'll give away someone just said he was downgraded to questionable. Oh, he was too. Wow. 50 minutes ago. I just see this now. It was probable before that. And then the latest is actually that he was downgraded to questionable. So that'll change things on that one. Maybe your call's right on Sharp, right? Maybe you go with Sharp and talk about it that way, because again, just going back here, back and forth with this.
Sharp is going to be a sharp play. That late night hammer over there in the Pacific Northwest. Give me that Tamboism. I'm picking him up.
Sharp's going to be a sharp play is not a Tamboism. That's literally like rhyming the same word twice. It very rarely works, but good try. I appreciate the effort. But yeah, one thing about it, obviously doing this right now, we were still factoring this in up to this point when we started the show and all that stuff. So if he's been right now, he's still questionable. So we're going to leave him in. That's how we'll treat it. But obviously the midday downgrade is not ideal. That will change things on Sharp. And again, if you're a member, you'll be able to see this on the site, or if you have the solver, you can have it auto synced right up. Things like that will change whether we get him in or out or whatever that looks like when we get there. And then JB said maybe an Anthony play in large field. Suggs gets some early foul trouble at time. It's close. I mean, he's outside the range of where I'd be going within the projections, even on large sets of lineups, but I definitely think that's something to look at. So keep that in mind. Watch it throughout the night. Let's go to this last game. Some stuff to talk about here. Right away, our guy Shipit says tiny Golden State Warriors team is going to be feasted on by Sabonis. He's dropping 60 plus DK, in my opinion. Got to lock him in a lot of lineups for me. Definitely a late night hammer there. He's way down the board on center value, so you are going to be unique. But when you go to somebody like him, if that's how you see it playing it out, build your lineup accordingly, and then you can kind of just fit in whoever you want around that, because that's kind of the way. So the big thing here, though, Ham, is going to be Chris Paul. His price barely went up, 6,600. He was a ludicrous price on night one. Everybody knew it. He's still kind of that way, and his ownership is going to be through the roof. I don't know if you'll get overweight on him as much, because if sometimes people cap or things like that, and you're going to end up at field or underweight even at this price point. But how are you going to handle Chris Paul tonight? What's your thoughts on him in this game going up against the Sacramento Kings?
Yeah, so I'm going to have a majority of my action over on FanDuel tonight, where I always have it. So I'm actually going to be off of Chris Paul, who's 8,100 over there on FanDuel. So, I know these shows are generally more towards DraftKings. I think on DraftKings, he's almost a must play for cash for sure. And then, like you said, I mean, you're going to have to play him in your GVPs, just depending on how many teams you have. I think you're going to have him at 6,600. Shep's on it, right? We definitely know Shep is on it. I mean, Nurkic, the first night, game 1, 14 boards in limited minutes. He's splitting with I forget the backup center. Anyway, so Sabonis is going to have a double-double for sure, probably in the first half. Sabonis could very well have 20 boards, could very well have 20 points, right? So I don't mind the Sabonis play at all. I think that's a great play. Matchup of a phenomenal 7-game series last year. I think it's going to be a highly contested contest just because of the way it ended last year. And I think you're going to need Sabonis. I think you're going to need CP3. I think you're going to need De'Aaron Fox. But Tambo, I've seen enough basketball over the last 10 years. When the lights come on, the biggest stage is Steph Curry. He always comes up to play. He wants to play in these big-time games. I think a Steph Curry implosion game is coming, game 2, to let the Kings know, hey, we ain't going anywhere. Steph Curry's going to have to keep him in the game. I like a lot of Steph Curry tonight, even though he's not showing good value on DK.
Are you thinking an implosion game or an explosion game?
Did I say implosion? I meant explosion.
I'm just messing with you. I got to do this. It's our first show we get to do together, so I'm excited for it. But yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility. A couple notes I have on this. This is definitely one of the sort of good leverage type games that you can go to and get some ideas from, because I think a couple things. One, as much as I love my guy Shep and the Sabonis call, man, that one is tough to make. Like, again, 10-2, but we did this the other night. And like, even if, okay, I can get off all 3 of these guys, I can argue this one, maybe. But then you go down the board, it's like you still have all these guys that you can get to that nobody is really on in comparison to the rest of the field. There's pivot plays. that you can get to and pivot and leverage within the same game, basically right there. There's other options that you can get to. So it's tough. It would make your lineups different. I'm just looking at sort of position scarcity in this instance. And even if you don't love like the top 3 or 4 guys because they're super chalky and you can just make a case against all of them, that's where it gets a little bit tougher. Now, let me go back here for a second. When you go back to it this way, Curry is not as bad as some of those other spots that we were looking at. He's still only 9,300. We talked about it the other night and looking for it. The guy like Chris Paul being out there with them can open things up where he can get the ball to him. He can find him. And then this guy can shoot with his eyes closed. So I actually don't hate that call. I know, Nade said easy X for Curry now. Tell me why. I actually don't hate this call. I've been hating on some of Ham's calls, and this would be one I would have interest in because as good of a play as Chris Paul is and a cash game lock on DraftKings and all these factors, I think there's a couple things here. One, you got Fox right on the other side. I like him on both sides. I think he's definitely interesting. And then I don't hate the Curry call. I'm not necessarily putting them together, but I'm saying if you wanted to move it off, you could move over to Curry in this game. You're spending up. It's not really a pivot at the price point as much of a leverage play within the same game, but you would definitely have to find ways to save elsewhere. But we've already proven it. You've got room to save at these other positions. So I actually don't hate that one. I like Fox. I like Curry. Not so much high on the other guys. And then if I just go back to it for a second here too, let's go. How do I want to do this actually? What do they got Curry in at? Both. Let's just go all the guards. There's a lot of guards ahead of them, but I will say it just seems like we have more values and stuff that I can use within there. So it's more of like a if this, then that. If you're building the lineup where you're going with the angle we just talked about with Sabonis, it's harder because we have values that pretty much everywhere else. If you're going with Curry, the way I'm trying to say it is like you still have all those centers that fit that you can play. You still have all those forwards that we saw that you can play. It's not as big of a difference. You can make the case for either side, but it's harder with centers because there was so many centers in between that you could move off of, a little less variance, things like that. So I'm okay with that. I think I'm good with using Curry, though, definitely the way you said it. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about here before I move over to FanDuel for a second?
Well, so I mean, they don't have a man that can stop Sabonis. How many points does Sabonis have to get at 10-2 to be on the winner tonight?
It's not just that. It's like he has to do that. He has to do what you're asking of him. And then all the other stuff has to go against it as well. And it's not really that much of a, like there's not really something you're going against there. This is why I like your Curry call so much more. I maybe explained it poorly before, but what I was trying to say with the Sabonis angle, you always have pivots and plays at other and values at other positions. So I guess I messed that part up. What I was trying to say and explain poorly was that with your Sabonis angle, I don't feel like I'm getting crazy leverage or anything special with that. He needs to have a huge game. Other guys need to fail and other factors. With the Curry side of things, it's already Steph Curry who can do it. And then he's a complete leverage play to CP3 in the same game, in the same spot where he can open it up. And it's at almost 1,000 less than Sabonis. So he needs that much less to happen as well. So I don't know. And some of those other guards that we talked about were priced up so much where if you don't like, you know what I mean? 8,800 for some of these guys, 9,200 for Trae Young, all these things where you could just go to Curry there and you're getting immediate leverage off of CP3. In cash games, we know CP3 is getting popped in, but you could do something like this and get away with it, no problem. That's why I feel more about that than the Sabonis thing. But to answer your question, he probably needs like 60.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to say 60 is easy, but I think 60 is definitely in play. But let's go over to FanDuel because I definitely think CP3 is going to be less of a talking point over there. We can run through it real quickly if you want.
I'm going to do a very quick run through because obviously these shows are geared towards DraftKings, but people want to see it. We can show it. I can tell you this right now too. It's just not how I'm saying to use it, but if you wanted to, literally right now with the season starting off and these projections, you can pretty much press optimize and play that in cash and have a good chance. It's just the way the projections are working right now. A lot of people are going off of different optimals. So you're probably going to be 2 to 3 spots different, which is nice in these cash games and still give yourself a leg up. So if you are wanting to play cash games over on FanDuel, you can mix around with it and make it into a tournament team too. It's easy to switch it around. We did a video yesterday showing how we can change things around a little bit, but just to show it here, obviously different pricing. So you're seeing like, look at Fox, 8,400 over here. Cunningham, almost the same price here, but you have 10 grand more salary to work with. Luka gets even more expensive, so not as high on someone like him. Jaylen Brown is small forward and shooting guard eligible and just 6,900. He must be like the best, is he? He's number 2 to Jaren Jackson. So just
Correct.
to show that, Wembanyama is 600 less on the site over here and more money to spend. So just little things like that where you're going to see what's pretty obvious. If you were playing Chet, way cheaper over here. I think he's $600 cheaper, much like Wembanyama. And then also he's got probably more like steals, blocks. Like that's more in the range of what he's going to do. So definitely want to bring that up. Small forward, we talked about, obviously includes him, but Paolo, he's here at 7,300. Anybody else that's really popping up for you at some of these positions that I'm not mentioning?
I mentioned him earlier. Fred VanVleet is really popping over there that we haven't talked about. Someone mentioned in the chat, and I mentioned him too. De'Aaron Fox, great price, 8,400. 300 more than Chris Paul, which I think he has much more upside than Chris Paul does. I mean, Chris Paul, scored more than I think he is normally going to do. So I don't mind De'Aaron Fox at that price. And then a lot of people in the chat as well heard them talking about DeAndre Ayton being a good price, and he is a good value. I'm out on Ayton. Saw a little bit of that Clippers game the other night. He got in early foul trouble, got 2 fouls, I think, in the first 3 or 4 minutes. And that's just the issue with him is he's going to get in foul trouble. So I don't have any interest in Ayton. So that'd be kind of the, where I'd stop.
Yeah, I'll let my guy Nades answer this. I know not trash talk, just to say serious curiosity. How is Shipit doing in the NHL streets? There's no like NHL site out there. Again, too, we have great projections. Our guy Lay the House RM won the slate the other night for 10K. So you can go check it on our Twitter. We're doing great in NHL. But again, remember, that's the benefit of ShipitNation.com. You're not just signing up. Like people are paying right now. I mean, this can't explain this enough. And I'm going to continue because we can. So we have this platform for join the nation. You can get the 359 down to 323. Okay. You go down here, you go have a coupon, you type in Mayo, you get 6 months now for $323 of NFL, NBA, PGAs coming back. That's going to get you past, what is it now? It's October, November, December, January, February, March, April. The Masters is going to be included in this package with 6 months. We're going to go that far. All the MMA slates. Baseball won't be back around yet because obviously it's just about to end. But NHL, you get all this stuff as just an add-on bonus as what you're getting. Like MMA, PGA, we're crushing. People said they pay this just for MMA. The price is where it's at. That's where we're going to continue to disrupt and be cheapest. NBA and NFL packages, certain places are $329 just for 6 months for that one sport. You're getting everything, projections, ownership, tools, rankings. When we get the NBA going 3-4 weeks in, you're going to get the ceiling rankings tool. You're going to get the correlation sheet. These are added tools that just come in for free again. You don't have to pay more for that stuff. If you're just trying to learn and get better and you're in the NBA streets, which is what the show is about, you can get this course. It's a 2-hour process course. We went through and broke down everything from goals, mindset, cash, GPPs, contest selection. You go to roster construction. This is a 2-hour course. We talk about late news, injuries, using the tools and projections in the optimizers, correlation in general, game theory, leverage, late swap, DK versus FanDuel. I broke down my live final lineups and how I got there and had that. We've got all the content for you at this price. And I don't know where this got misconstrued along the way. If it did, I'll clarify it. But like, we don't care what site you subscribe to. You can go to, like, people subscribe to 5-6 different sites. We made our price that way for a reason. If you can only get one site, there's not a better value for all those sports and everything you get within it. If you can afford multiple sites, adding ours on does not cost you very much. Even if you just want to compare it, I can assure you when push comes to shove, you're going to be excited about what we have. And it's all easy to use. There's tutorial videos on every page. The Discord is popping off all day, all night. We have people on different coasts. Our team is smaller than some of the teams out there, but we have the perfect blend of the coasts. I'm on the furthest thing the United States doesn't even have, the Atlantic time zone, right over to the far West Coast where we've got other guys. So it's like everybody's involved all around the board. There's lots of good things going on at the nation. Ham, we're going to get out of here, man. Any final thoughts from you before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, I think we covered it. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We got one more winner to pick, Tambo.
We do. And before we do that, I also love this comment. Who just mentioned this? Shep, again, shout out to Shep. He said, every piece of content crushes. And don't forget, yeah, we don't advertise this because, again, we don't officially back it. But the member and the disc, we're talking about members giving away memberships right now and all this stuff. But the member community is so strong. We have people running. Smarty runs college football. Pickett runs tennis. Our guy Joshua Boy runs esports. We've got people doing NASCAR with Izzy and Ram Racing and guys like that. We've got soccer with Jack and Kim. There's people in there. It's no one's committing to it, but it's there, and they're doing it every day, and they can do it as long as they want. And Kim, there she is. Tambo doesn't sleep. He's always available. I try my best. I do try my best, and I'm also trying to work on that sleep habit. But Ham, talk to us, man. What do you got for a winner? Let's give away this last membership. We just talked about how great it is. Let's make somebody's day. What do you got?
How about Ryan Mickle?
Who?
Ryan Mickle. Is this for a member or non-member?
This is for a non-member up at the top where we had them go through it. I got one if you don't. Do you not have one ready? If you don't have one ready, I got one here.
I said Ryan Mickle, but go ahead. I'll do two. Ham will put one in. Ryan Mickle. I'll do Ryan Mickle, and then you pick one as well, because if you got one.
All right. Yeah, you're going to get Ryan Mickle in on the action. You're going to let him see about this. And you want to show him real life what this NHL product is like, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Ryan Mickle, info@shipitnation.com. We'll get you taken care of.
All right. And there's so many people here. I just got to go back. I did have one more. It was right up there, kind of around the same area. And I love this too. I'll be honest, not a sympathy story on why you should pick me, but I just want to be a better DFS player. It'd be an honor to get on with the best in the business to sharpen my tools. That's what it's all about. So Tori J, you are the other winner. Reach out, info@shipitnation.com. We'll get you guys all set up. That's going to do it for this one, guys. We appreciate you watching. If you want to go over, remember, use code MAYO to make sure you get the 10% off. And it's not just the setup where you're getting the full price. So go over, check it out. We want you to get the best deal. That's part of what it's all about. From my guy Ham, from myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it.